Hi everyone, so this is just a quick video to show how I've been using this blue stuff which I found recently. I'd never heard of it before, but I saw it on eBay. So it was £8 for 4 sticks of blue stuff, which is quite a lot, and 12 inches of green stuff. And that was from Greenstuff World. Not sure where they're based, but their eBay page sells a lot of this sort of stuff. And I used these press moulds to make things like this. So you can see here we've got a Viking head which I managed to make, a Lord of the Rings Sons of Earl shield, and that's just how they come out of the mould, and then also a cloak which I managed to copy from a plastic cloak I already had. So you start off by taking a mug of boiling water, and this has just come out of the kettle. So you take your blue stuff and you just dunk it in the water. While it's in there, you just let it go soggy. I just use a pair of tweezers to move it around a little bit so that it almost seems to speed up. Now you're going to want something to put the blue stuff in to keep it in this one place, because if you just put it in freely, it's going to splodge everywhere because it comes out almost like Play-Doh. So I use these. These are just the caps from deodorant bottles. They seem to fit in quite well when you use the blue stuff. So the first step is that you would take, if it's ready, let's see, not quite, almost. I mean, you can see it's losing its consistency. So I'll stop here and then come back in a moment when the blue stuff's ready, and I've rolled it into a couple of small balls. So the first thing you want to do is grab hold of one chunk, doesn't matter which, and I put it into the bit which I'm using to make the mould. From here you just need to flatten it down, so that it's in the bottom. You then take the item you want to mould. Let's use a metal shield. So you can see there's quite a bit of detail on this shield on both sides. So you want to push the shield down into the blue stuff. Doesn't matter if it's absolutely dead center, just push it down so that you can be sure. You can't really see through there, but it's pushed down into it. I then use the edge of the tweezers to push out a little bit, almost to make plugs, so that when I'm trying to put it back together, I didn't do it on this one because it's pretty obvious, you can tell where the moulds fit, because the last thing you want is for the moulds not to know which way to put it around. So I'll give this a moment to cool and then come back and show the second step. So you can see it in there, it's just pushed in just far enough to get an accurate mould. So it's been a couple of minutes now, and this is cooled completely. It's lost its it's not pliable at all anymore. It's turned more to a solid rubber, a bit more like this one. So now that that bit's been done, and it's important that this bit's cool, because otherwise they'll stick together. If it's not cool, they'll stick together and then you can't prise them apart, and so the mould will be knackered because you won't be able to actually, you'll have to cut it apart to get your item back out of the middle. So once you start cutting it, you won't be able to use it for a press mould. So the water's still pretty damn hot. So you take the second blob, chuck it in, and then just push it down on top. Doesn't matter if it's too neat, you just need to make sure it's well pushed in. Now I use these caps because another reason is that when you push them together as so, it really does put a decent amount of quite even pressure on it. You do get overspill at the sides, but not enough that it's all going to come shooting out. So I leave this probably for about another 5 minutes to cool. Sometimes I do float it in a bit of cool water because that will cool it down a bit, but I'll leave it for the moment and then come back in a minute when it's ready to open up. So you leave this for about 10 minutes till it's cooled properly, and then take it out. Once it's out, you can see that it's gone solid. You then want to peel it apart. This should work. I can feel the water in there. Sometimes it's a little effort, especially when I'm holding the camera in one hand. There we go. Right, so you peel it off. You can see on the back there, it's got a pretty good implant. A little bit of water on it. Move the camera, not the camera, that. There we go, that's better. So we've also still got that in there, so you pop that out, and inside you can see a pretty well detailed mould. So what you then want to do is you mix up your green stuff as you would normally, put a small ball in there, of course making sure to put some water in to stop it from sticking too badly, and then once that's done, you put the lid back on effectively, squish it down, clamp it in. I put it back in the spray caps to hold it in place, and then you just leave it overnight for the green stuff to cure. So in true Blue Peter fashion, here's one I did last night. So exactly the same technique. Green stuff put in, probably a little bit too much green stuff. You can see it all coming out on the edges. You pop it out, and then there's your mould. There you go. You can see the detail is just as good. I mean, it might even look slightly better because of the colour at the moment. And then you've also got the same amount of detail on the other side. The only problem, of course, can be the thickness, because I've not quite judged exactly how much green stuff to use yet. So this one, you can see, is, if it'll focus, if not, it doesn't matter. This one's quite thin, annoyingly thin. But you can use this for any sort of pressing. I mean, as I said earlier, I did a cape. So here's the cape fitted onto the guy, green stuff shield, and here's the green stuff head waiting to go on. So it's all very good. It's all good for converting stuff, especially as these are going to be dismounted Sons of Earl. See another guy here, green stuff shield. That's the original cape that I copied. All green stuffed and ready to go. I'll come back with these a bit when they're finished, so I can show off what they look like fully. But that's how this blue stuff works, and the blue stuff I got from a company on eBay called Greenstuff World, and it works really well. It works brilliantly. So thanks for watching, and I hope that helps a little bit.